Good afternoon. And you know I do this twice because good afternoon. It is a great afternoon here in the city of Rome, and I want to welcome once again to Oneida County the many times and to the city of Rome, Governor Andrew Cuomo. Governor, thank you for being here with us. Before we begin the program, too, I'd like to acknowledge many of the special guests that we have with us today. And first of all, you're all special guests. Thank you all for being here today. And I'm just trying to relish my first appearance on the Capitol stage for a while. I mean, because I haven't been up here. But first of all, my colleagues in government, Assemblyman Anthony Brindisi. Assemblyman. She's been acknowledged. You're going to hear from her in a little bit. The Mayor of Rome, Jackie Izzo. The Mayor of Utica, Robert Palmieri. The Oneida County Board of Legislators that are here, the Chairman, Gerald Fiorini. Rome Common Council led by President Stephanie Viselli. Good friend to us in Oneida County, and he has been a great partner, is the President and CEO of Empire State Development, Mr. Howard Zemsky. And Howard, I say this all the time, our favorite commissioner in the Cuomo administration, the Honorable Roanne DeStito. The Director of Air Force Research Lab, Daniel Gutter. Dan, thank you. President of MVCC, Mohawk Valley Community College, Randy Van Wagner. Randy, thank you for that. President of Mohawk Valley Edge, Mr. Steve DeMio. Steve, thank you. Sheriff of Oneida County, Rob Mayshell. Sheriff, thank you for being here with us. And the President of the Central New York Labor Council, Pat Costello. Thank you. Also with us, Director of Policy from the Executive Chamber, John Majori. John, thank you very much. So, as always, we are always thrilled when the governor visits us. And the governor has been a great partner, not just in economic development, but throughout all of our issues and all of the things that we do in Oneida County and across this great state. Since day one of his administration and working with local governments and establishing the regional economic development councils, which have brought business leaders, government leaders, citizens, all partners to the table to develop a strategy that is proven and continues to be a model across the United States for economic development here in New York State, led by the governor. The investments that we have here in the Mohawk Valley and continue to see throughout Oneida County are a testament to this great program that the governor has established. So with civic and academic leaders, highlighting the academic institutions that we have and focusing on areas of technology, of cybersecurity, of infrastructure improvements, and continuing to bring jobs and growth to the entire state of New York. And just here in Oneida County, there's so many projects that we can point to. The north-south arterial that goes through the city of Utica, connecting one end of the North Country to the southern tier. The Griffiths Business and Technology Park and the Griffiths Parkway, which is under construction, and the governor saw it as he landed at Griffiths and came down here today. Those are the things that are getting done, connecting businesses, connecting the communities in ways that they haven't been connected before. The governor continues to support us, continues to look at the big picture of making us one state, one community, and growing and continuing to move this state forward. So, Governor, on behalf of the people of Oneida County, let me say thank you for what you have done and what you continue to do for this region. Without further ado, we'll get to the program, and it is really my pleasure to introduce the gentleman who has been leading the economic development efforts of the state of New York in the last couple years with Governor Cuomo. Howard Zemsky has become not only a great friend, but really a great partner. He's itching to get up here and tell some jokes, I'm sure, but the governor has been explicit on no jokes, so I can't introduce Howard as I'd like to. But without further ado, a great friend, great partner, Mr. Howard Zemsky.
Hey, Rome. Rome rocks. What'd you say? You know, Roanne DeStito, Commissioner DeStito, is my favorite commissioner, too. I'm just saying. We do a little commissioner vote at the end of the summer. Who gets to be Commissioner of the Year? There's 14 commissioners. I came in 15th. Your very own Roanne DeStito won Commissioner of the Year. Give her a hand. You know, before I start, I just want to take the opportunity to clear up something. This confusion that exists about which Rome came first, Rome, New York, or Rome, Italy. I know it's often debated. I want to tell you what really happened. In 1817, New York State Governor DeWitt Clinton persuaded the state legislature to build a $7 million canal from Buffalo to Albany. At dawn on July 4th, 1817, cannons from the U.S. Arsenal at 514 West Dominic Street sounded. And after local judge Joshua Hathaway gave opening remarks, Canal Commissioner Samuel Young addressed the crowd, and the first shovel of earth was ceremoniously dug up here in Rome, New York. At the same time, across the Atlantic Ocean, there was a village on the Tiber River, then known as Tiberville. And the mayor of Tiberville said, "Did you see what they're doing over in Rome, New York? We can do stuff like that. And they have such a cool name. It's regal and it's memorable. And we got Tiberville. It's wimpy and you can't remember it." So they took a vote and they changed their name because of what you did here in Rome to Rome, Italy. And that's what really happened. And if PolitiFact does a study on that, I am going to be upset. Anyway, since we got that squared away, we can move on to the business of the day. And it's still going great here in Rome, even after all those years. You have a lot to be proud of. Over the past decade, targeted investments in environmental design, placemaking, tourism, and entrepreneurial innovation have brought Rome to the cusp of real transformation. The community has a strong track record of successful development strategies, public-private partnerships, and partnering with the state, including brownfield revitalization, green infrastructure and investments, historic preservation and adaptive reuse, and the Center for Entrepreneurial Development. Today, Rome has gained a reputation in upstate New York as small, gritty, and green. Have you heard of this? Small, gritty, and green? Do you like it? I wish I was small, gritty, and green. I'm tall, I'm spoiled, and I'm pale. Nothing good about that. I can't think of a more perfect way to describe what's happening here. You're gritty, you're making it happen. It continues to happen here in Rome and in the Mohawk Valley. It's happening all across upstate New York, going through the revitalization that you have started. And economic development, as you know, is a team sport, working with the legislature, working with the amazing county executive, with the mayor and mayors of this area. You are living a transformation. It is only going to accelerate. It is only going to accelerate. You have a lot to be proud of. You're working hard. You're reimagining your future. And the governor has given us all the tools we need for the first time to develop our own plans, and he's given us the money to advance those plans and make it a reality. So with that, it is my pleasure and privilege to introduce the 56th governor of the state of New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all of you. It's my pleasure to be back in Rome. What do you say after Commissioner Zemsky speaks? Nothing. That's what you say. You just say nothing. Commissioner Zemsky is right. We do have an annual competition for Commissioner of the Year. Rowan won, Commissioner of the Year. Give her a round of applause. Howard Zemsky did not come in number 15. He did come in number 14, but he did not come in number 15 because there was only 1 to 14. He lost points. It's anonymous voting, but you fill out a little card when you vote. So it's a device for commissioners to see what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, how they could grow. So on Howard's cards, he lost a few points because some people doubted the factual accuracy of some of his stories. They got the significance and the poignancy and the currency, but they thought he was full of baloney with some of the stories. With numbers, he's very good, however. But words and concepts are not his forte. He has been an economic development genius for the state of New York. What he has done is second to none. To my friend and your great county executive, Anthony Pacenti, he's fantastic at everything he's done. He's been a good friend to me. Let's give him a round of applause. And to the mayors and all of you who worked so hard, it's a pleasure to see all of you. I can be brief because we have an announcement that I know you're interested in. The focus for upstate New York, first and foremost, is about jobs. It's about jobs, jobs, jobs. It's about the economy. That's the number 1, number 2, and number 3 priority. And we are on it night and day. Howard Zemsky came from the business community. He's not a politician. We wanted businessmen to come up with business plans. And he came in, volunteered at first. We then seduced him to come in full time. He did the Buffalo plan to turn around Buffalo. He's been working with local, regional economic development councils, just focusing on jobs, especially upstate. Why? Because the truth is, upstate New York has gotten the short end of the stick from Albany for a very long time. That is the truth. You know, if you are unwilling to admit a problem, you will never solve it. And the truth is, upstate New York was going through an economic transformation. It was a manufacturing economy, and now it was switching, and every city has the same basic story, only the facts change. Buffalo will say, well, we used to be a steel manufacturing city, and then that changed. Rochester will say Kodak, Bausch and Lomb. Here we had Griffiths. But there was a manufacturing entity. There was a business that was generating most of the jobs, and then overnight, that business is gone. And the question becomes, how do we reinvent ourselves? And that's a very hard question to begin with. And even when you come up with a strategy on how to reinvent yourself, the second question is, and who's going to finance the reconstruction? It should have been the state government, but the state government, for many years, couldn't find Rome, New York on a map. They'd probably find Tiberville first. And the truth is, they were too focused on downstate New York. Why? Because that's where the bulk of the legislature's from. That's where the bulk of the population is. So they had blinders focusing on downstate. We came in, we did a 180. We said the focus economically is on upstate New York. And we got businesses, community, and academic communities all together to come up with an economic development plan for upstate New York. I'm proud of the progress we've made, but we have to do more. Some areas have done very well. Buffalo is a national story of revitalization. It's interesting. We started with Buffalo first. Why? It was the toughest case in the state. Highest level of poverty, largest number of people in poverty, and the most depressed. I used to talk about the upstate depression. You'd go to Buffalo, and all they did was talk about the old days, when we had the steel mills, when we had Republic Steel. But there was no sense that there was a future. They would tell their children to leave because there's no future here. But because it was the worst problem, we focused on it the most. We've actually made the most progress. All areas have done better. Unemployment is down in your community. Unemployment is down in every community in the state. Statewide, we have more private sector jobs today than ever in the history of the state of New York, believe it or not. So that's... And we took care of the fundamental issues. One of the fundamental issues was, while upstate New York was struggling, the state kept raising taxes. And that made the environment even tougher, because businesses are mobile, people are mobile. If you're going to charge me a lot of taxes, I'll move to the Carolinas. I'll move anywhere else. And New York was too quick to raise taxes. We got that under control. The rate of increase in state spending is lower in my administration than ever before in the history of the state of New York, all right? Under 2%. Just think about that. And think about that in terms of the old stereotype, right? Republicans, they're the ones who know how to spend money. The Democrats, they spend too much money. Baloney. I spend per year less than 2%. Less than George Pataki, a Republican conservative, less than Nelson Rockefeller. So we really have fiscal discipline in the state like you've never seen before. That allowed us to cut taxes. We have the corporate tax rate down to the 1968 level. We have the middle class income tax up to $300,000 down to the 1947 level. So when people say, ooh, New York has high taxes, we don't. We're literally at the 1947 income tax rate. Property taxes are still a problem, and we're working on that. That's a property tax cap that we passed on local governments, but our state taxes we did. And we're investing more in upstate New York than ever before, over $36 billion, and I am proud of it. My administration has invested more in upstate New York than any administration in history, even more than when DeWitt Clinton invested in the Erie Canal. So I feel good about that. But here's the interesting thing. When a business comes in, and Howard pitches businesses all day long, I pitch businesses, it's always the same conversation. Do you have the workforce that has the skills that I need? That's almost always question one. That's why we're working with the SUNY system to increase their tech capacity, tech transference. Do you have the skills? They'll talk about economic conditions, taxes, and then they talk about the quality of life in the local downtown areas. Why? Because a lot of these new businesses hire younger people. And younger people have different interests and tastes than dinosaurs like me. And it's almost funny that there's been a 180. My generation, my father's generation, you grew up in a city, and when you could, the dream was to move out to the suburbs. Get a little house, get a little lawn, get a patio, be able to barbecue and grill. That was the dream. You wanted your own house. My grandfather, God bless his soul, is old Italian. His big claim to fame when he retired and he bought a house, he said, "It's an unattached house." I didn't know what he meant. For years, I didn't know what he meant. And I finally said to my father, "What is Grandpa talking about, an unattached house?" He said, "Well, you have to understand, everybody lived in an attached home. Semi-attached, attached. Nobody had a freestanding home in the old neighborhood. So success was to buy a house that wasn't attached to another house." That's come full circle. Millennials today, they don't want to drive. They want to be in a downtown environment that has action, that has arts, that has other young people where they can socialize. They don't want to get in a car to commute. They want to be right there. They want the restaurant there. They want the nightlife there. They want that action of the downtown. Totally different mentality. So a focus is now turned to the quality of life in the downtown area. And we started what we call the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, DRI, because in government everything has to have an acronym because they don't like to use words. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. DRI, Downtown Revitalization Initiative, we said, we'll go out to downtowns, you give us our plan, your plan for revitalization, and the best ones will win. Something funny happened during the competition. We were way oversubscribed, okay? We thought we would get 10, 15, 20 applicants. We have gotten over 104 applicants, okay? And it's amazing the time and attention that went into putting these 104 applications together. There is not a bad application in the 104. We originally were going to have 10 winners, and the winner got $10 million, okay? What we've done since is because we had so many applicants, but only 10 winner slots, $10 million each, we've added a second place that would win $8 million, third place that would win $6 million, fourth place that would win $5 million, and a set of steak knives. Your plan was really very strong. You hit all the key elements, in my opinion. You talk about an arts district. You talk about building on history, which also builds on tourism and Fort Stanwix. You talk about use of the waterfront, and the waterfront is magic as an attraction to people. It's just natural. They're drawn there. It's walkability. You have access. You have mixed housing, so you hit a lot of the spots. But it was a very, very tough competition. just think about 104 applicants and only 10 first place winners. So there's no shame in not winning first place, right, given that level of competition. And you can imagine how many communities spent time working on these applications. Everybody always wants to be first, but second place is a lot of money, and third place is a lot of money, et cetera. And I just wanted you to think about that for a second. And I'm going to open the envelope and find out, because they don't tell me what the actual answer is. Congratulations, Rome, you have won first place, $10 million. So everybody can see it.
Thank you. Wow. Governor, on behalf of the citizens of the city of Rome, thank you. We have a terrific plan in place, and I want to thank our Regional Economic Development Council for recognizing that and advancing our plan forward. To our county executive, who's always been a stalwart person advocating on behalf of our city. To our Senator Griffo, who couldn't be with us today, he's on a trip. And our esteemed Assemblyman Brindisi, thank you so much. For Mayor Palmieri, thank you for being here. The synergies between Utica and Rome are very good. It's just all one county. And of course, we have to always applaud our favorite commissioner. She is Rome's strongest advocate. Howard, I think we have seen you more here in Oneida County since you've come on the job, and it's made a huge difference. Thank you and your staff at Empire State Development for listening to all of our ideas here in Oneida County, and especially today in the city of Rome. This is going to be a transformative project for this city. We have unbelievable, great plans that we can now go forward with. The reason that this venue was picked is because the Capitol Theater is the centerpiece of this downtown district, and we will be spending a good chunk of money right here to finish this theater finally. The governor has given us the tools. This is a huge tool for Rome. Now, to move ourselves forward, we thank you for that. You mentioned urban living. The corner where we now see the Liberty Garage, or the George Street Garage, that will be coming down, and we will have a beautiful new apartment complex that will be constructed there. We have many, many plans. We'll be going over those plans with the consultant that the state brings in to help us. But the one other one I want to mention, because it's going to do so much for our quality of life, over on the City Hall Green, we are going to build a mini Rockefeller Center there with our Christmas lights and a skating rink. We're going to become a four-season destination on that green. Governor, thank you. Thank you for being here today and visiting the city of Rome. We have a package that we're going to give to the governor. It's backstage. It's filled with all things Rome. Nothing perishable. But we wanted you to give a flavor of what we're all about, and we hope that maybe next year, when you're campaigning, you can come back here and maybe cut a ribbon or two on this wonderful project. Thank you so much to everyone. And I just want to mention that I really believe our partnership with Mohawk Valley Edge has really been important for us, especially with developing these plans, and I want to thank everyone at Edge, Steve, Shauna, Fred, Christian, Jen, thank you so much. This is a great day for the city of Rome.
You good? Congratulations. Buona fortuna.